Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Party PD, and welcome to yet another episode of Workshop Weekly. Now, this isn't the last one, but this could be the last one, but it's likely not the last one. This is episode 3 of season 2 for the fall call to arms. I'm still using this graphic, despite the fact that the submission deadline was changed, so it's not the 24th anymore, but you get the gist of it. We're here to make some videos about some of the sets. Now, the big thing is that there were a lot of sets to go through, but I picked the ones that I personally felt more attached to, as well as some funnier looking ones that I felt would be pretty funny to add to the game, as well as one or two where I saw that once I tweeted it, it got a lot of response. So, all in all, the video will contain a lot of sets, but not as much as our the last 2 episodes of season 1, where they were like super XL sized, basically. But this should have a decent amount, I imagine. So sit tight, bring up some popcorn, watch me skip everything over my script, and let's get into it. Our first set of the week is called the Ascension of the Hallowed Beast. It is a lycanthrope set. Now, the reason I picked this one up was not only because did I see it explode on Twitter, but it's also just a really, really nice set for Lycan. Very themed as well. As you can see, I have a picture here with him standing next to a pumpkin, and that's basically just, it's a perfect set in that retrospect. It still sticks with Lycan's baseline color scheme of that like red with black undertone. As we see in this, it's more of a red highlight with green primary colors with like a sort of what's the best way to put it, like a brown wood kind of undertone for the lower ends of the drape, as I like to call it. I mean, it's like more of like a cloak shirt kind of deal, but you get the gist of it. We also have the wolf forms that's off here on the left side. Looks like this is the one I think that when he's stunned, that's what he looks like. And then the one in the middle is actually his summons, and the one on the right is him idling when he's just in the wolf form. And then, the Lycan form off to the right. So I really like the set because it's a big, nice color scheme combination. It's a very straightforward set for Lycan as well. It's not too heavy, but it's just heavy enough to bring out the fact that this is a Halloween set and a fall-based set, because necromancers alike, this is basically one of the better things that I've seen for a Lycan set. There was a Lycan set I was going to review at one point in time last week, but I'm glad I waited for this Lycan set to come out so I could talk about this one, because like I said, I don't like to do multiples of each hero, even if it is like an episode or 2 apart. The only time I will is if there's a set that was like significantly better than the other one. But yeah, so we have the first set, like we talked about, the Ascension of the Hallowed Beast. It's by BladeofAvilliva, Fudgie, Wudgie, Runaway Space Idiot, which you guys might know as Hawf on Twitter, and Team Whiteren, which I know. Shoot, what was the other one? I can't remember all the names. There's a lot of names I have to remember nowadays, but really nice set. I imagine we're going to see this one in no problem. Next is an Earthshaker set called Baron of the Minotaur by Tarantine, Woozlez, and Gaas. Now, the reason I picked up this set, right, is because it's still a very themed set around the fact that it is a Halloween/fall look. And the reason I felt like this one kind of attached to it is because his totem is a coffer at the same time, at the fact that he's a Minotaur is the big thing. Now, Minotaurs are usually based around a fall-looking theme, as you see a lot of Centaur sets when it comes around to the fall season are kind of based around this kind of visual status, and now we have one for Earthshaker that kind of matches that same visual status when it comes to that kind of scenario. But the other big thing behind why I like this set is because, like, it's a unique one. There's a lot of unique sets actually in this one that's going to change a character's performance visually in more ways than one. And this is definitely going to be one of them, because most of the Earthshaker sets we see are either really high armored or they're like Earth, basically, or he's part of like nature, like that one where his totem is literally like a piece of tree, basically. This one, on the other hand, is completely different, where he's basically like an armored sort of Minotaur in a sense, and like this is the byproduct result of that. Now, there's always the scenario that Valve will add their own special touch to this. And the big thing is that if Valve does their own little special particle effect deal like they like to do, I imagine we'll see some particle effects from the shoulders. It'll have like glowing eyes, and like the Minotaur horn will be like gold or something like that. Now, that would be a good little addition, but overall, I really like this set because of its diversity and how clean and crisp it looks color-wise. And don't worry about the fact that this could maybe, well, what if this has more frames than it's actually mathematically allowed? Well, Valve made sure that was not going to happen again. So this set will be matching its poly count requirements, whereas, last season, there were things that were not in the poly count points. So again, Baron of the Minotaur, Earthshaker, by Tarantine, Woozlez, and Kaaz. Next, we have Vengeful Spirit, called the Dark Arts Countess, by OniLolz and zaphk, pardon. Now, there wasn't really that many assets when it came to pulling this Venge set up. As you could see, we're like moderately limited to what we can have here. But the reason why this one actually drew me a lot more than a lot of the other Venge sets that I've seen Halloween-based is the fact that it's not too flashy for a Vengeful Spirit. And because there's a lot of sets that are either just like, it's strictly armor and that's kind of it, or there's sets that kind of just go out of the way for her. And in this scenario, we see that this Vengeful Spirit set still is just a baseline set of clothing with a baseline set of wings. Now, again, this is yet another kind of scenario where we could see Valve doing the little additional bonus touches up to this, because there's crystals all over the place. So they can add some little colorful pink crystal effects to them if they wanted to with the Valve specialized touch. But overall, I think this set's like really perfect. It's a nice Vengeful Spirit set. Now, one of the big things I did see in the comments about it was that somebody felt that the hat might have been too much. The hair is perfect, but at the same time, if you do the hat and just the hair, like you toss out the hat and keep the hair, then that's not really going to work. The hat makes the hair the combo with the rest of the outfit, because the hat is the one thing that stands out the most when you're looking at Vengeful Spirit from the frontal perspective, whereas the back perspective, you see her long little drape cape, as well as her vampiric-esque wings. The Dark Artist wings, of course. So I feel like that judgment might have been a little bit of like a false toss, but at the same time, I understand where they're coming from. Maybe the hat needs to be smaller, or it's just, maybe the hat shouldn't have wings of its own. Who knows? But I think I really like this Venge set. Again, the loading screen, as you can see in the very top left here underneath the names, is definitely what caught me out when I looked at it the first time. And I wasn't disappointed by looking at the loading screen, then going over straight to the set. Next, we have a Witch Doctor set called Record Holder Grower. Now, the only thing about this one is I imagine they should think of a different name. Basically, that's the biggest sort of judgment call I could give about this one, is that I don't think that's the name you want to use for this. But the reason I picked this up is because this Doctor set is actually really funny looking and really cool. I see off to the right side here in the middle, here's his face mask that is basically just like, it's a little scarecrow box with like some ancient rune writings on the side and a little grass top as a hat. And then everything else is just like insanity on top of it. The backpack is asleep while he's like on his back, but I don't think it wakes up when you press R. But at the same time, you can look at this totem. It's just this crazy pumpkin that's just spitting at you constantly. So the totem is a really cool thing. The ward actually is what it's called, because the totem is Earthshaker. But the ward is actually a really interesting thing, and I liked it a lot. The only thing I probably don't like about this set is that the shoulder, quote unquote, isn't actually that big of a cover up for the Witch Doctor. As you can see off on the base model here to the left side, you can still see a lot of Witch Doctor's base model with this set, instead of being covered almost completely as if a scarecrow were to be that scenario. Because, you know, he's holding a scarecrow as the weapon, but he himself looks very scarecrow-esque. That'd be my only concern about this one, but still pretty nice overall. That's Record Holder Grower by Patterson and Kaaz again. Next, we have a very interesting one, because I talked about this one on Twitter very briefly, and when I pinged Slacks about it, he said must have. So we're going over this Viper set because he's literally a pterodactyl. Now, remember when I said at the very beginning, there's a lot of sets that's basically going to transform the hero completely? This is one of those sets, because this is not Viper. This is a pterodactyl. So this is Poisonous Pterodactyl Thorn by Volt Illusion, and the reason why I wanted to cover this set was because it is one that actually transforms Viper completely, because there is a set already that kind of does that. So it's not like it's impossible for like the realm of it's within the realm of possibility that a set like this could be accepted, because there's already something out there that transformed Viper in the weirdest way, and this would be another addition on top of that. So I want to see it in because it would be amazing to see it in. It'd be really funny, and I really would want it. The only thing I'd have to really give out about this one is that the tail like drops down to really small at the end. But of course, Viper's normal tail is pretty much like that as well. But I feel like a Pterodactyl doesn't have like a tail that lingers into a small little ball at the end. But that's just me. Next, we have a Legion Commander set called Vampiric Fighter. I imagine this will be another set that might get changed name-wise, but the reason I picked this one up is because not only do they actually have, as you can see on the bottom left here, an Arcana version of their set, but it is very vampiric looking, and this is one of the few sets that changes Elsie's base face, because a lot of them are usually like she has a helmet on, or like a half helmet, or like a crown of some sort. This one is a crown as well, but this also is one that changes her base face in the sense that she has a different hair color, the eye colors are completely different, but of course that had to change in order to work with the rest of the set. And on top of that is that even though this is called Vampiric Fighter, I feel like this is more like a dragon-esque looking set for her, because she's bulky, she's got spiky armor shoulders, and then if you see from the back when Elsie is walking here, her tail end, in a sense, looks very dragon-esque. Especially when you look at the Arcana as well, the burnt wings give it that little extra texture point, as well as the fact that when you go to the backside here on this Legion Commander Arcana version, you could see that even the fire trail from the Arcana is lingering down from the tail portion of her lower skirt. So that's why I feel like this set actually has a lot of potential to be more than just Vampiric Fighter, but more Dragonkin Fighter in some sort of way. But I really like this set, and this one's by Paraforce 1 and Yuri. Now, I remember we covered a Paraforce 1 set last week as well, so they're already pumping out a lot of sets for this, and that's good. But the other scenarios is that there could be people who are like remodeling their old sets and putting them in as something new and completely different. An example of that would be our next set, as this is called the Assassination of Darkfeather by Yeastar, and some characters of which I cannot read. Which I also do not think I put in all three of the characters. I did not. Hang on. I will put that in momentarily. So the reason I picked up this PA set actually was because there was something very unique about this, was the fact that it had a very reminiscent sort of feel towards the Demon Hunter set that we looked at during the Collector's Cache. And the reason why I wanted to pick this up and say that it looks very reminiscent of the fact that it's the Demon Hunter one was because the Demon Hunter one had horns that were very much styled like the hair coming off of the back of your Phantom Assassin here. Now, I know what you're thinking. You don't want another damn PA set into this mix. But the thing is that here's our Arcana version in the middle here. The Arcana version looks really, really good. But the biggest thing I wanted to talk about was that the cape just blisters so much with the Arcana that it looks so clean and crisp. So, and they did a really good job making sure that if you also have the Immortal, that this is what it would look like with the Immortal, basically with just the shoulders and the cape, because, you know, the weapons are your main Arcana version, and then your head is the other Immortal that usually goes with it, so long as you have the max level blades on your Phantom Assassin. So I picked this up because of the fact that they're, like, the blend works well with the rest of the set, as well as the Immortal and the Arcana. So I'd like to see it in, because I think it's been a little while since we've had a PA set. The last big PA set that I can remember off the top of my head is that one that made her look like a cowboy. Next, we have Shadow Shaman's Resurrection Cursed by AK-47 and Halloween Pumpkin. Of course, that could be a different name. It's just Halloween Pumpkin at this point in time. Another big reason I picked up this set, all right? So there was something in the comments when I went into the workshop for this one, was that it said the color scheme is all over the place. There should be one baseline color scheme. Now, in my mind, I'm like, what are you talking about? This is literally his color scheme, because Shadow Shaman is a blue-esque hero. And we see here that most of his theme is still hitting that blue sort of fault line. On top of that is that the only thing that might be a different color scheme that like clashes with the rest of Shadow Shaman would be his sort of, I guess, wands in a sense. Because one is a wand and one is a lamp. So that might be the one thing that he might have been talking about. But at the same time, like, this set's perfect for him because it works out extremely well. Shadow Shaman, Resurrection Curse. I mean, come on, guys. He's a shadow. He's resurrected, and this is what he came out to be. He's got this nice mask as well. The mask is probably the most high detailed thing about this out of everything. But the other big thing I wanted to talk about was that the ward is literally a scorpion. Like, it looks so funny, but it works is the thing. Like, it actually will work. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the set in here for more than just the scorpion, but the fact that this quote unquote big color clashing scheme of a set could be added in, and maybe it'll give that Valve little extra particle effects, because as you can see with the picture to the bottom left here, there's still a lot of room for Valve to add their little special Valve touch. Now, the last set we have for this episode, I know we're already almost done, is the Harvest Effigy by Akiba and Godzi. The reason I picked this set up was because this is hands down the most unique Shadow Fiend set I've ever seen, because not only is it's not Shadow Fiend anymore, but like his color scheme is clean. It works. And not to mention, like, I don't know what it looks like with the Desolator fingers or the Arcana, but at the same time, like, it all looks so clean and crisp. And it's just a straightforward, simple looking set for Shadow Fiend. And that's why I really liked it, because it's a Harvest Effigy. So, you know, born out from the ground and created purely to defend the crops. This is what you got, and this is who he is. So that's why I picked up this Shadow Fiend set. I don't think there wasn't that many other Shadow Fiend sets. I think there was one more, but like, he looked like a clown, and I wasn't really a fan of that. I don't like the ones that make him look like clowns. Except for the Cat Pudge. The Cat Pudge was probably the closest thing I'd be okay with. But yeah, I just really like this because it's a very straightforward, it's an autumn set in a sense. This one makes him look like fall, the season of fall. And that's why I felt like this one like got to me more than anything else, because it's a fall themed set, and it's a clean fall. I like it. I like it a lot. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is our episode 3 of the season 2 Workshop Weekly series. Like I said, whether or not there's going to be another episode, I'm not 100% certain, but if you like this, make sure to like, follow, subscribe, etc. Like Twitter, Discord, so on and so forth. You know the drill. And I really hope you enjoyed this episode. There will be more come season 3 whenever that happens. But of course, once this is done, we will go back to our regular programming and look at going back into our interview series. So like I said before, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you like, follow, favorite, subscribe, share to everybody you could find. Talk to your grandma about it. This guy's talking about colorful effects. Talk to your dad. This guy is really terrible at knowing what colors look like. You should show him up. That's what you gotta do. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed. This is Party PD, signing off.